Hello, this is Everything Everything, and you're listening to Big Bang Radio, W1IA 89.1 FM, Tarboro, Nashville, Rocky Mount, a service of Nash Community College.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Nash Community College, the Board of Trustees of Nash Community College, or the North Carolina Community College system.
From stories shaping the nation to moments unfolding right here at home, this is The Current. We'll take a look at national news, spotlight what's happening across North Carolina, and keep you connected to what's happening on our campus. You're listening to The Current with KJ. Let's get into it.
Hello once again. I know you got excited when you heard good old Andrew Small with that introduction to The Current with KJ. That's what you're listening to. We're here on Big Bang Radio, presented by Studio 67 on the campus of Nash Community College. And as always, I'm happy to be back with you once again. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We try to have a good time, talk about some big things, and get through a lot of stuff in half an hour, in 30 minutes. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first segment, which is the rundown. So the biggest thing that I have to talk about is what is on everybody's mind, which happened a couple of days ago. The country legend, Dolly Parton, unfortunately passed away. She was 80 years old, and definitely an exciting life lived, right? It's hard to say goodbye to an icon. It's even harder when the icon seems to belong to everybody. So let's remember the life and legacy of the queen of country music, Dolly Parton. She died on Tuesday at the age of 80, bringing to a close a remarkable career that spanned nearly 7 decades and leaving behind a legacy that stretches far beyond country music. She was born in rural Tennessee as one of 12 children. She's actually quoted as saying that her and her family were dirt poor and her father couldn't even read. Parton's story became one of the most recognizable American success stories, from humble beginnings in the Smoky Mountains to becoming a songwriter, singer, actress, entrepreneur, philanthropist known around the world. And what a catalog she leaves behind. Songs like Jolene, 9 to 5, Coat of Many Colors, Here You Come Again, and of course what many may not know is that she was the original writer of I Will Always Love You, which was made popular by Whitney Houston. And so, it is just, she was an amazing woman. I never got to meet her personally, but I have several colleagues and friends and co-workers that did. And so, I can just imagine from what they say, as well as just seeing her on TV, that her spirit was that of kindness and positivity and humility. And so she is definitely one that's going to be lost in the entertainment world, but also to a lot of individuals just in a personal sense that have spent a lot of their lives connected to Dolly Parton and her music and her movies and her books and things of that nature. She sold more than 100 million records worldwide and earned 11 Grammy Awards. She was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and, despite initially questioning whether she belonged there, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. But here's what made Dolly different. For millions of people, her legacy isn't just something they heard on the radio. It's something they received in the mail. Through Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, millions of books have been provided to young children at no cost to their families, with the program growing from her home county in Tennessee into an international literacy initiative. She also supported disaster relief, education, and medical research throughout her life. And that's probably why the reaction to her death has stretched far beyond Nashville. Artists, entertainers, and fans across generations have been sharing tributes, not only remembering the performer, but remembering Dolly Parton the person. She once sang about working 9 to 5. Turns out, Dolly Parton spent a lifetime doing considerably more than that. The queen of country music may be gone, but her legacy will live forever. And so, just a shout out and tribute to the life that is Dolly Parton, the queen of country music. May she be missed, but her legacy will continue to live on. Now switching to something a little bit different, right? A little bit more exciting, not exciting for the individuals involved, but exciting for us readers and us listeners. College fraternities are known for brotherhood, parties, and lifelong friendships. Federal investigators say this operation had a very different extracurricular activity. Authorities have charged more than a dozen people in connection with an alleged drug trafficking operation involving students associated with fraternities at Penn State University. Investigators allege that cocaine was distributed through a new network connected to the university's fraternity community, with authorities describing a sophisticated operation involving current and former students. According to the investigators, the operation wasn't simply an occasional exchange between college students. Authorities allege significant quantities of the drug were brought into the state college area and then distributed through a network connected with students. The case has attracted, as you can imagine, national attention, partly because of where investigators say some of the activity occurred within the fraternity environment surrounding one of America's largest universities. And while the drug is at the center of this particular investigation, public health researchers caution against allowing one extraordinary case to distort the broader picture of substance misuse on college campuses. Alcohol continues to present a much wider risk among college-age populations nationally. For Penn State, the allegations also raise renewed questions about student safety, Greek life oversight, and how universities respond when alleged criminal activity intersects with campus organization. The individuals charged will now move through the legal process, and the allegations against them remain allegations unless proven in court. This is a pretty interesting story because it has been a long-term conversation debate about the oversight and the activities of fraternities and sometimes sororities at universities, but especially fraternities because they are more likely to be associated with things like hazing and things of that nature. Now, that's not something that I'm saying based off of a source or facts or anything like that, but my own personal opinion, I think I have seen more of fraternities being, called out or mentioned or rather highlighted or provided a spotlight on things associated with hazing and things of that nature. But this is pretty interesting because, as I've said over a few episodes, I enjoy a good documentary. A documentary really gets me excited and riled up. I know it sounds boring, but I don't mean those black and white or military documentaries. I mean documentaries that engross you into a scandal, right? So that but with the intention that you know more about a situation or about something that you should be aware of that you didn't know before. That's the kind of documentaries that I like. That being said, I have watched quite a few when it comes to colleges and scandals and things of that nature, and it is just amazing that something like this, a true drug ring that is nationally recognized, is something that can happen at a place where you're supposed to be going for the intention of learning, getting a college degree, and getting something that's gonna bring you out at the end of your 4 or 3 or however long you're there, years, and bring you into a better life in terms of earning potential and what you can do and the people that you meet and things of that nature. What you don't think or expect is that you are going to be attending a college where either yourself or somebody you knows gets ingrained or involved in something like a large drug ring, which is pretty interesting and unique. I can imagine when I was going to college that I was involved or knew of individuals that were involved in something like that, but that is not to say that it couldn't have happened, nor that's not to say that it didn't happen and we just didn't know it. So, it's just one of those things that you kind of look at and you sit back and you think and you're like, wow, there are some crazy things that go on. There are some wild things even happening under our noses that we probably don't even know. Or sometimes you know it and you're like, man, that's not none of my business. Let me stay out. Let me stay over there on Street A, because over there on Street C, I know they got some things going on. But anyway, I'm sure there will be more that will come out about this. And as I said, they remain allegations, right? They remain quote unquote innocent until they are proven otherwise. So that was a college tradition facing serious questions more the fraternity life. But now we turn to a football tradition that's officially being sent into retirement, which is right on time as we get closer to moving back into the NFL season. After 75 years, the traditional Pro Bowl game is officially over. The NFL, or the National Football League, announced Wednesday that it will discontinue the annual All-Star Game, which had been played in some form almost every year since 1951. Now being a Pro Bowler being a Pro Bowler isn't going away, right? But it's more so going to move into more of the honor it's supposed to be, and the intention is for it to mean quote unquote more. 88 players will continue to be selected through voting by players, coaches, and fans, but there will no longer be replacement Pro Bowlers filling spots for players who can't participate. Those selected will instead be honored during events in Los Angeles following the season, with flag football activities also planned. The move comes after years of experimentation. The NFL moved the game away from the longtime home in Hawaii, tried different locations, and eventually replaced tackle football with flag football and skills competitions. But interest in the actual game has declined. So after 75 years, the NFL is keeping the title and retiring the game. As somebody that is a NFL fan myself, is actually one of the, if not the only sport that I happen to like. I think outside of that, when I was in college, I liked, college football and college soccer only because I had friends and or roommates that played those sports. And so I went to cheer them on. But as the only sport that I actually like, NFL, or football rather, is the sport in NFL to watch. This is something that, I somewhat agree with. I think that the Pro Bowl game has become something. It's a catch-22, because I believe it has become what it should become, right? It should not be just another game where we see people that are in there that are the best of the best, that could potentially get hurt, or things can change, as well as the substitution of individuals that earn a Pro Bowl that shouldn't maybe necessarily have been named a Pro Bowler, right? Just due to that person being out, and so they sub in for them. So on that part, I'm like, I agree. But on the other end, exactly what I said, right? I'm saying it again. The best of the best play against each other. That's almost something that you definitely want to see, right? You want to see a game where it is an all-star game. Everybody in there is the best of the best in their position, and they're playing some great football, and it's a very high-intensity match. So, yeah, it's one of those catch-22s where I feel like I can see the good, I can see the not so good. But at the same time, NFL has made its decision. As an NFL fan, I have to be okay with that, because I don't intend to do any kind of uproar or anything like that. But at the same time, I may miss the Pro Bowl a little bit. I don't know. We shall see if this year it feels a little bit different. And to the last thing we have here is a pretty personal to me. Finally, we look at a story where, you always want to hear, as a human being, you want to hear these two words in the same sentence: medical and breakthrough. One of medicine's toughest opponents may have just met a powerful new challenger. The FDA has approved a new treatment for metastatic pancreatic cancer, a major development in the fight against one of the most difficult cancers to detect and treat. I had a grandfather who, my paternal grandfather, who actually passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2012. And by the time they found it, it was already at a stage 4. Right, or stage 3 going into a stage 4, and it wasn't too much longer after that that he did pass away. So it is of hope that other individuals, you can always find medicines that can do better at helping and do better at providing some kind of relief, but also some kind of cure towards something like pancreatic cancer. The drug is called, I'm going to butcher this name, but the medical term is daraxonrasib. Daraxonrasib, yeah. And it targets RAS proteins that help drive tumor growth. That's particularly significant because mutations in this family of genes are involved in the overwhelming majority of pancreatic cancers. And researchers spent decades struggling to develop treatments that could effectively target them. The treatment is intended for certain patients with metastatic pancreatic cancer who have already undergone treatment. While there is important, it is not a cure, but clinical trial results showed a substantial improvement in survival for some patients compared with traditional treatment. Pancreatic cancer remains particularly challenging because symptoms often don't appear until the disease has advanced, meaning many patients aren't diagnosed until later stages. So pretty much what I said about my grandfather, right? By the time he was diagnosed, he was already in the late stages, and it wasn't too much longer. That's why a new treatment is significant, right? A new treatment option. Researchers still have more to learn about the drug and how it performs over time and which patients benefit most. But after decades in which this particular target proved extraordinarily difficult for scientists to reach, the FDA approval represents something patients and families dealing with pancreatic cancer haven't had nearly enough of, and that is another option and another reason for hope. Wow. So, from remembering a legend to a major college investigation, the end of an NFL tradition, and new hope in the fight against pancreatic cancer. Those are just some of the stories making the headlines. This has been the rundown. So, we're going to go right to a commercial. When we come back, we're going to jump into Carolina Focus. I'll see you in a second.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen to the R&B Lunch Hour right here on 89.1 FM Big Bang Radio, where I, Xavier, will play all the hits and hidden gems from groups like SWV, Boyz II Men, and In Vogue. Like what you hear? Listen in every Wednesday at 12 on Big Bang Radio.
Hey, I'm Drew. Join me each week as we jump into our totally tubular time machine and explore the decade of decadence, excess, and tunage, the 80s. Each week, I'll explore the musical genres, hits, years, themes, and oddities of the decade I stumbled through as a child. Yeah, I'm old, so hop on the totally tubular time machine live each Thursday at 8 a.m. Rewinds Friday nights at 6, Saturday and Sunday afternoons at 3, only on Big Bang Radio.
Looking for a fun way to support local students? Grab your friends, co-workers, and neighbors and join us for the Nash Community College Foundation Scholarship Golf Classic. Community and company-sponsored teams are welcome with tee times at 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Enjoy a great day on the course at Bienvenue Country Club while helping provide scholarships for deserving students. Plus, don't miss the exciting 50-50 ball drop raffle for your chance to win some cash. To register your team or learn more, email nccfoundation@nashcc.edu today. See you on the course.
And welcome back. You are listening to The Current with KJ. Of course, I'm your host, KJ. We are here on Big Bang Radio, presented by Studio 67 on the College of Nash Community College. So, let's jump into what we have for Carolina Focus, shaping the communities across the state to headlines a little closer to home. This is Carolina Focus. North Carolina just won big against one of the biggest companies in the world. And if you have a teenager with Instagram, this story could change what's on their phone. North Carolina could receive more than $646 million as part of a massive settlement with Meta over allegations involving the effects of Facebook and Instagram on young people. North Carolina joined other states in suing Meta in 2023, alleging the company's platforms included features designed to keep young users engaged and contributed to concerns surrounding youth mental health. Meta has denied those allegations, and under the settlement, the company does not admit wrongdoing or legal violations. But here's what the story gets particularly interesting. The agreement isn't just about money. Meta has agreed to make substantial changes to the experience for younger Facebook and Instagram users. Teen accounts will have a default 2-hour daily time limit across the two platforms. Turning that limit off will require parental permission. There will also be a default night mode from midnight until 6 a.m., along with a school mode that mutes most notifications between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. during much of the school year. Young users will also receive prompts after periods of continuous scrolling, while like and reaction counts will be hidden by default. Meta has also agreed to strengthen age verification efforts and limit certain beauty filters for younger users. North Carolina's share of the settlement is expected to be distributed over a period of 10 years, with state lawmakers ultimately determining how the money is spent. State leaders have indicated that youth online safety and student support could be among the areas considered. So, this is one to watch, because beyond the hundreds of millions of dollars coming to North Carolina, some of the biggest changes may be happening right on screens young people look at every day. You know, this is a pretty wild story in the sense of Meta is going to pay out $646 million, which to them is actually not that much, right? Because it's actually a $1 trillion trial, right? That's how much the trial is worth. So just put that in perspective. I'm sure other states, I don't know if that $646 million is, well, I guess it's just specifically to the North Carolina state, and so the larger settlement may actually be more to that if they are including other states in that as well. The only thing I will say on this is I think that I have went over this in a few episodes back towards the earlier part, where I kind of went over, you know, all of the other countries and what they do in terms of having oversight over social media when it comes to minors or when it comes to young people and things of that nature. And I think I just go back to, you know, it is about time, to be completely honest. I'm a young person, right? I'm only 20 some years old, right? At the same time, it is true. You know, we are getting to a point where more social media is coming out. There are more social media platforms than there has ever been, but there is less oversight and less moderation than there has ever been as well. And so it is about time that the United States does more to increase its care and oversight and looking out for the interests of younger individuals, younger adults that may be consuming an egregious amount of online social media activity that will, in the long run, prove to be a negative impact on their lives. And so, obviously, I think I mentioned this as well a couple of episodes ago. This is not the end of it, right? There are going to be more and more companies, states, attorneys, X, Y, and Z, parents that are going to continue to push the envelope when it comes to making sure that we have a society, an environment that is going to be most beneficial and most supportive to the growth and development of younger individuals in our country. So, I'm sure more will come on that. Keep your eye on it. If you're parents, keep your eye on it. So, speaking of keeping students safe, this next headline comes with just a little bit of irony. If you're the chairman of a school board, there are probably a few places you really don't want to get a speeding ticket. Number one on that list, a school zone. Wake County School Board Chairman Tyler Swanson pleaded guilty Wednesday following a speeding citation he received earlier this year. Yep, It happened in a school zone. Swanson was originally cited in January after Cary police said he was traveling 47 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour school zone near West Cary Middle School. He ultimately pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of driving 40 in a 35 mile per hour zone. Before the case was resolved, Swanson completed 24 hours of community service and submitted character statements. A judge granted a prayer for judgment, a resolution that will appear on his driving record, but generally does not result in insurance points. Swanson has publicly accepted responsibility, saying no one is above the law, and encouraging drivers to slow down around schools. And here's where the irony gets a little stronger. Swanson has previously been an outspoken supporter of using speed cameras in school zones as a way to protect students. So, perhaps there's no better person this week to deliver the reminder. Slow down in school zones. That's it. That is the reminder. And, what better person to share that than someone who has both been a huge supporter of slowing down in school zones, but also the same person that has received a speeding ticket for going too fast in a school zone. And finally, for the Carolina Focus, we're coming closer to home for a story that has weighed heavily on the Rocky Mount community, and one that still has important questions without answers. 3 members of one family, one Rocky Mount home, and weeks later, a community is still asking what happened. Earlier this month, Rocky Mount Police conducted a welfare check, found 3 members of the same family deceased inside their home. Family members identified as Tracy Swan, Kenny Swan, and their 20-year-old adopted daughter, Mahala Skurlock, and the circumstances surrounding their deaths remained under investigation. Relatives say electricity to the family's home had been disconnected several days before they were found. According to family members, the household had an unpaid utility balance of more than $2,000 and had attempted to make partial payments before the disconnection. That has led relatives to question whether the loss of electricity may have played some role in what happened. Authorities have also investigated whether a generator had been operating inside the home, but it's important to emphasize an official cause of death has not been publicly released, and there has been no determination that the utility disconnection caused their deaths. The case has nevertheless sparked a broader conversation in Rocky Mount about utility payment policies and what options should exist for residents experiencing financial hardship. City officials have said their payment plan policy is under review, and just this past weekend, family, friends, and community members gathered to remember the 3 lives lost. So while many questions remain, the community continues mourning Tracy, Kenny, and Mahala as investigators work to determine exactly what happened. Just quickly, I think that this unfortunately for Rocky Mount community and government and things of that nature, it continues to play into the long-standing question, oversight, look into what Rocky Mount is doing in terms of, recouping the money that they had lost without true explanation. They have tried to provide some kind of light towards, why a tens of millions of dollars worth of budget was decreased substantially over 2 to 3 or 4 years with the presence of the former city manager. And so while they're dealing with that, and while they're dealing with things like residents consistently getting 2 bills for utilities, and while they're dealing with additional items, here's another thing, another nail in somewhat the figurative coffin, where it's just an outcry from the community that Rocky Mount needs to figure out what is going on, right? So I'm sure more will come of that. I'm sure more will be released in terms of the policies that are being reviewed by the Rocky Mount government. But stories that we have going on in our backyard. So we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to round out with the Hawk's Nest to talk about what we have going on Nash Community College's campus. And we're also going to talk about doing something a little bit different for a couple of the shows coming up. So stick around and we shall be right back.
It's time to gear up for a successful semester at the Nash Campus Store. From course materials and school supplies to the hottest electronics, laptops, and official NCC merch, we got everything you need. Did you know you can use your financial aid on almost anything? Order online at NashCampusStore.com for easy in-store pickup or delivery. And of course, we're here with personalized service to make your semester a whole lot smoother. Visit NashCampusStore.com today.
Bye, baby. It's the first 8 weeks. Me too. Right now, you're dealing with work, life, family events that never stop. But don't count yourself out just yet. Nash Community College has a solution. Register today for 8-week flex start classes in subjects like English, math, and even psychology. Don't let life's limits limit you from your future.
You heard it there. Don't let life's limits impact you. You can start, even though you missed the traditional start to class, you can also start on Monday, August 31st, this Monday coming up, because we have some flex start options happening. This is a later start that provides another entry point into the fall semester for courses being offered in the 14-week format. These courses cover the same academic material and carry the same college credit as their traditional semester counterparts, but operate on a slightly condensed schedule because they begin later. Availability varies by course and program, and not every class is offered in the 14-week session. The college will also have additional later start opportunities during the semester, including flex start options, depending on what other availability of courses that the college has. So while the first day of the traditional semester has already passed, August 31st represents another beginning for students enrolled in Nash Community College's 14-week courses. So we look forward to having you there. Just quickly going over, more than 200 plus students joined us. Over 4 new student orientations hosted over the last couple of weeks. They are now attending Nash Community College. They came to the new student orientation, learned about what all we had going on campus, where to find things, get some advising done, print out some schedules, get some technology rented. Just another opportunity to get started in a big way at Nash Community College and to pretty much put your student on a launch pad and make sure that they're ready to go for the first day of class, which was August 17th. And so we are happy to have welcomed over 860 plus new students, as in an overall about 3,200 students. So we are excited about that because the halls are bustling again. There's noise, there's people, there's students, there's just everything going on. And as educators, we love to see it. We love to have it. And then to round out something exciting next week that we'll have on campus for our campus community, students, staff, and faculty is Spirit Week, presented by Nash Community College's event committee. There will be several opportunities to show Nighthawk spirit throughout the week next week. Each day will feature a different theme, adding a little fun to the beginning of the fall semester and giving the campus community an opportunity to participate together. And there's a little competition involved too. A Spirit Week contest will be held as part of the festivities, so participants will have an opportunity to put a little extra creativity into their Spirit Week looks. So I'm excited about that personally. So, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. That's all the time I have with you. Thank you for listening to The Current with KJ. Stay informed, stay thoughtful, stay connected. Love